Attention, this is part 2 of this review. I highly recommend checking part 1 out. Hopefully, I don't forget to put the link in the description below. I work in a miserable mill. I always forget something when I get lost in misery.
Which she does, and eventually Jax and Olivia go to basically find the quagmires, who they assume are hidden somewhere in the house of the apartment of Dark Avenue 67. While the Baudelaires, Olaf, Esme, and Jerome go to basically go to a restaurant. First, they go to the Houdini restaurant, which is basically this fake restaurant where they basically there's the staff of the bold man, basically all of Olaf's henchmen. They basically, and I absolutely love them. They're so hilarious. Just like how, just I mean, listen to this. This is so funny.
Welcome to Herring Houdini, a completely legitimate business with no secret agenda behind it whatsoever.
Welcome to Herring Houdini, home of pickled fish.
Everything here has been prepared for you.
And very quickly, but not because we got a phone call 5 minutes ago.
For the children, we offer a tour of the kitchen.
Where they'll probably not be thrown into a burlap sack.
And for the adults,
Vodka martinis? Which don't have any sleeping potion in them at all.
isn't it hilarious?
It is hilarious indeed. And I also really like this visual representation, like a metaphor, that Jerome's words don't matter because Esme makes all the decisions in his life. With the hat, her Napoleon-like hat, blocking out his mouth as if it's shutting him up. That was very well and done. And so they decide to go to the restaurant Cafe Salmonella, which is, of course, from the book where Jerome and the Baudelaires ate. So, first of all, I have to explain something. In the movie, both Gunther, aka Olaf, and everyone else go to eat there. Well, in the book, Esme and Olaf, aka Gunther, stayed up to talk about the auction, the details, but actually they were talking about their evil plans because we know from after that they're both evil. And but Jerome and with the kids went to Salmonella to eat there while the Esme and the Gunther were discussing the details of the auction. So it kind of was different this time around when like Gunther, aka Count Olaf, came also, and so did Esme. But I don't know. It's a strange difference because I really liked the idea that the kids can have time alone with Jerome rather than sort of being always with this group. But I guess it makes sense. I'm willing to buy it. So after that, what basically happens is Esme decides not to go into Harry Houdini and go to the other restaurant, which doesn't make sense because we know she's following Olaf's plans, and that was in Olaf's plans. But basically, Larry, the waiter from VFD, turns out to be a waiter in Cafe Salmonella. But basically, he's just there to distract everyone while Jax and Olivia are searching the house because they believe that the kidnapped Quagmire children, Olaf hid them somewhere in the house. We get this hilarious scene of Jax and Olivia checking all the floors, and a much more hilarious scene is the Cafe Salmonella, where everything just is salmon-like, and I think this version of the story, while it didn't succeed in showing how tiresome the letters were in the beginning, it definitely succeeded much more than the book to show how everyone was disgusted by how much salmon there was, and I really like that they followed this sentence in the book that you would never even want to eat any more salmon after you went to Cafe Salmonella, because it's true. Every single course, the costumes, the statues, everything is salmon-like. However, there were a couple things I was disappointed they didn't use from the book, like the I don't remember if they used it. The walls were all supposed to be in salmon-like drawings, and so are all the tablecloths. And there's and the salmon plates, like the plates, are all in salmon patterns and so on. And that would have even added to the story. But I guess what they went for is still really impactful. After that, I want to talk about, after that, nothing really happens in this episode. What happens is the Baudelaires, yes, the great part. Basically, Mrs. Poe and Mr. Poe come there, and Mrs. Poe is, of course, the writer of the Daily Punctilio, and Olaf wants to escape from the restaurant that they're sort of trapped in by Larry the waiter, and basically what he's trying to do is make Mrs. Poe write an article about how this Cafe Salmonella is no longer in. It's out, but the other Harry Houdini, or how do you say it? I don't know, is actually a good restaurant. It's in, so that everyone would go there. But and so he convinces her. Everyone starts running away, but so are the orphans. But the orphans actually hide. They hide inside the fish statue, which I thought was a great idea, and Olaf just misses them. And there was a lot of comedic humor, sunny everyone, and overall, that was great. Then, of course, they are trapped in the Harry Houdini restaurant, which is so hilarious just how they serve it, because everyone is writing good reviews for the restaurant afterwards, but it's so disgusting. And so, while the VFD agents are trying to make Olaf stay in there as long as possible, they persuade him to make a musical number. And everyone is like, for Secretary's Day, for Secretary's Day. And he's like, if you insist, not like insist, but he says it like, if you insist. And the thing is, I don't understand the joke here. I mean, maybe the joke is just that he's like F you, but but I thought they could do something more here, because this wasn't really funny. This wasn't funny. But of course, after that, we have the musical number. Neil Patrick Harris rocks as always. I absolutely loved its choreography, its timing with the Baudelaires finding the Quagmires at the bottom of the closed elevator, because they understood that the elevator is Erzats. Roll credits. But and basically, the thing is that they decided if the elevator is like fake, then there must be a secret passageway, and that's where the Quagmires end up being kept. So the Baudelaires use this mechanical device, to sort of go downstairs there, while Olaf keeps singing, and we end on a positive note with them finding their friends, and yeah. So, my final thoughts. This episode was certainly a very fun one. I think it really succeeded in many things. First of all, it followed the book although not completely, it followed enough of it to get the grasp of the plot really well, and sort of added its own things and brought its own new things to the table, and the things that it created were very good. So I think it definitely captured the style of the episode, just like the last one, visually, and plus the atmosphere of it. Count Olaf's Gunther character, I think, was played very well by Neil Patrick Harris, and very well written as always. And The Baudelaires and everything, the tension, everything was great. But Lemony Snicket is once again ruining the entire episode because I just absolutely hate his interruptions. However, this was a great one. So it's time for an end segment. Now, for those who are not familiar with this series of reviews, what I do in this end segment of the video is basically I talk about a scene from my own wild imagination of something that the story of the episode could have benefited from, and that it could have used to maybe improve or just make it more interesting. Just something I want to put in the episode just because for fun. So today what I am going to do is I'm going to do the scene where Gunther is in Cafe Salmonella with Esme, Gigi Jean Squirrel, Violet, Klaus, Sunny, and Larry, your waiter, and basically the thing is that he's pretending to be this handsome man who is this gentleman, who is this very he knows the manners, he's this very sort of mannery gentleman. But however, when it comes time to eat, like the food there can be this comedic moment where he doesn't know how to hold the knife, the fork, something. Just he doesn't know how to eat intelligently. He just eats like a total pig, like we always see him do. And that could be a very funny moment with him just trying to fit in, but not being able to actually imitate the person he's trying to imitate.